This is San Diego News Daily.
Hello and welcome to San Diego News Daily. I'm Monica Hernandez. Today, family and friends will resume their search for an Oceanside mother and ER nurse on Palomar Mountain. Angelica Brophy has been missing for 13 days now. She was last seen July 6th at Harrah's Casino. Oceanside police confirmed she then drove to Palomar Mountain State Park and parked her car. But what happened next is a mystery. Search teams have been focusing there, and yesterday, the family of Maya Miliete showed up to help, along with hikers who previously searched for Maya. Angelica's family says they are thankful for the support.
It's a reflection of her character. The outpour of support, the prayers, that's what keeps us going, is the prayers. We feel that.
We did it for Maya, you know, we are her army. And we are going to help other people if, you know, they need help.
The search teams say they already have permission to search some private property nearby. Now, if anyone wants to help, they say the terrain is tough and it's hotter than you might think, so come prepared. Following a lot of public input and a number of community meetings, the SANDAG Transportation Committee has approved public transit fare increases. It is the first time since 2009 that riders of the MTS and North County Transit District will pay more starting October 1st. The extra revenue will help make up for budget deficits facing both transit systems. For most riders, it'll be an extra 50 cents for a one-way ride. Monthly passes will increase too.
This just becomes a choice that people don't want to take, and you ultimately lose riders on the system, which just negatively impacts everybody who needs the system.
The fare hikes are supposed to prevent service cutbacks that would cause longer wait times. Hundreds of grocery store pharmacies across California have voted to authorize a strike that includes more than 100 pharmacists at more than 50 Ralph's, Albertsons, Vons, and Pavilion stores in San Diego County. The UFCW union says the companies committed unfair labor practices during months of contract talks. They alleged that they would make changes without negotiating and surveil members participating in the contract campaign. Now, the vote doesn't mean a strike is happening yet, but it does give the union the option to call one if negotiations stall. Pharmacists say they want better staffing, manageable workloads, and higher pay. Both sides are expected back at the bargaining table next month. In a statement from Albertsons, which owns Vons and Pavilions, a spokesperson said the company has been negotiating in good faith with the union since January and remains committed to reaching a deal. The company also says it remains focused on serving customers and supporting employees. For more than a decade, one man nearly single-handedly kept the Mount Soledad National Veterans Memorial shiny and clean. Well, this week, he finally put down his tools after dedicating most of his life to his country. Bob Bottom Gun McCollum has retired. His friends recently threw him a retirement and 90th birthday party. He was the volunteer caretaker at Mount Soledad for the last 13 years. He spent 30 years in the Navy, mainly working in submarines. That's where he got the nickname Bottom Gun.
Well, these are our nation's heroes. These are our walls of honor. This is where the people from this country, everyone can thank the freedom we enjoy from these veterans that are on these walls. We're gonna have to find something else to do, because one of the benefits to me coming up to this memorial every day was to keep this old body moving. That's the secret when you start rolling into your 90s. You gotta keep these old bodies moving.
You gotta keep yourself moving. Bob volunteered more than 4,000 hours at the memorial. He's officially retiring to Santee. Today marks 2 months since a devastating shooting in Claremont. 2 gunmen walked into the Islamic Center of San Diego, killing 3 men who were protecting the mosque while more than 100 children were attending class inside. These are some of the images that have stuck with us. Take a look here. Dozens of elementary students walking hand in hand being evacuated. Parents running to make sure their children were safe. Since the attack, the mosque has added around-the-clock armed security, increased police presence during major services. NBC 7's Mark Mullins sat down with the mosque's leader about how the community is healing.
So Imam, 2 months after the attack, how's your congregation healing emotionally and spiritually?
2 months of grief, 2 months of healing. And we as a community, we heal together. We heal through our spiritual actions that we do here, through the prayer, through the sermon, the preaching that we do at the Islamic Center of San Diego. It's taking some time, and I'm guessing that it's gonna take longer than 2 months, but we are coming together, stronger together as a community so far.
Hate crimes against houses of worship have affected churches and synagogues, mosques, temples. What message, Imam, do you think this tragedy sends to all faith communities?
Unfortunately, now we're talking about what kind of security grant we're going to have to secure our house of worship, what kind of fence or bulletproof windows, or how many security cameras we need to have inside, outside the building, and how many armed security guards, as if we're talking about a prison or something like this, right? So houses of worship are supposed to be the most peaceful places on this earth. People go to a house of worship to pray, to meditate, to have peace of mind. Houses of worship are not battlefields, you know. Unfortunately, we have seen throughout the years houses of worship becoming the target of terrorists, of people full of hatred against that specific community. And this is not right. This is totally wrong. And you know, I often, when I meet with faith leaders, my colleagues and friends, you know, we talk about what kind of security grant you got to do this fence around your church. You know, we're not supposed to say this. We're supposed to say what kind of programs you are having to keep kids off the street and to attract more people to your house of worship. But we are in a situation where we have to do this balance between having a welcoming house of worship versus safe and secure for everyone who attends.
Imam, this is a bit of a personal question, but have you been able to forgive the attackers, or is forgiveness simply too difficult right now?
I want to see accountability. I want to see justice. And this is what my community members, and this is what the families of our 3 heroes are asking. We want to see justice. We want to see accountability, because we don't want this to happen again. I mean, if just forgiveness might send that message that, oh yeah, go and do it wherever you want, you will be forgiven, I don't think this is the right message. I think that accountability and justice for our loved ones who were murdered here is the right answer.
NBC 7 meteorologist Angelica Campos will have a look at your weather right after this.
You count on breaking news.
People running in the streets, they have their kids, they have their pets.
And help preparing for the unexpected.
Small fire right now, we'll keep an eye on it.
You count on stories from your community. You count on getting different points of view.
We're still human.
And your voice being heard.
We need help.
You count on in-depth reporting.
It's a mess, and it's making people sick.
Because you know the whole story is more than just the headline. This is coverage you count on, only on NBC 7 and Telemundo 20.
And we're so glad you're with us. This weekend is going to be warm, but not as hot as the last couple of days. A high surf advisory will be in effect Sunday through Tuesday. Next week, temperatures will be heating up again. So enjoy the weekend. This is our break. High pressure is the main feature, which is actually going to be strengthening again this upcoming week. But the placement matters because as it moves closer to Colorado, then it brings moisture up into our neighbors to the east, Arizona, Nevada, Utah, instead of California. That means humidity levels are going to be a little bit lower this weekend, but they could ramp up again next week as well. There's that high surf advisory in effect tomorrow through Tuesday until 11 p.m. Swells today 2 to 4 feet. Tomorrow, different story, 4 to 7. We're going to go from moderate rip currents today to a high risk as we go into tomorrow. And the water temperature is in the low 70s. Sunset tonight will be at 7:56. Looking at the clouds, clouds, most of them near the coast with a marine layer that pushes back and then returns into the evening. Our deserts will be looking at some of those clouds in relation to the main flow coming from the south and pulling moisture into the area, but just not enough instability, not enough moisture to produce any thunderstorms today. So it will be a little bit quieter in that sense of the story, of course. As we go hour by hour, mid to upper 70s late to mid morning. As we go into the afternoon, upper 70s for the coast later tonight, going into the low 70s and staying mild as we go to bed 9-10 p.m. For those of you who go to bed early, it is still going to be very warm out there. Inland communities 79 degrees at 10 into the afternoon, mid 80s. A couple of places into areas like Valley Center, potentially Ramona, could make it to the 90s. Otherwise, looking a little bit better as far as our daytime highs go. So this is what we're going to be looking at. Areas like Jamul 85, 86 Escondido. This is closer to normal for this time of the year, by the way. If we just took a snapshot of the temperatures for today, this is what we typically expect for mid-July, not what we have seen over the last few days. Overnight lows will be in the mid to upper 60s across the board here. Looking at low 60s, Julian 64, Pine Valley, so very warm weather into the overnight hours. And really is the entire day of dealing with this above normal temperatures that creates a higher risk for our bodies. Enjoy the break today, because look at that. We go from 70s to 80s, and then the temperatures will start to climb again next week. Same for inland valleys, back to the 90s for the beginning of the week. And then maybe by Friday, we may see those numbers just slightly below 90 degrees. But overall, it is going to be a warmer week ahead. Mountains, mid 80s to start the weekend, mid 80s on Monday, Tuesday, back to the 90s Wednesday, Thursday. That will be the warmest period for next week. But after that, very similar conditions too. In the deserts, well over 110 degrees after Thursday of next week. The next few days are staying hot, but a little less humid. Humidity could be back by the end of the week on Friday. We'll make sure to keep you up to the latest. Back to Monica.
All right, Angelica, thank you. After 103 matches, 16 cities and 3 countries, it's all down to this. The 2026 FIFA World Cup officially comes to a close tomorrow. Defending champions Argentina and Spain will play each other for the title. If Argentina wins, it would become just the 3rd country in history to win back-to-back World Cups. The last team to do this was Brazil back in 1985 and 1962. If Spain wins, it would be their first World Cup since 2010. More than 80,000 fans are expected to pack the MetLife Stadium tomorrow for the pinnacle of the tournament. Kickoff tomorrow officially starts at noon our time. And of course, you can watch the final match Sunday and the 3rd place match today on our sister station, Telemundo 20, or stream it on Peacock. There's more coverage you count on at NBC7.com. I'm Monica Hernandez. Thanks for watching.